Hello, Elizabeth with the Newport Historical Society here, and we are speaking with Don Johnson, Assistant Professor of History at North Dakota State University, who's also a former Buchanan Burnham Fellow with the Newport Historical Society. Don is going to chat with us about his career path and his background in public history and his work in academia.
Hi, Elizabeth. Thank you so much for having me on for this series. It's been really nice to see some familiar faces and some unfamiliar faces watching the previous episodes, engagements, or whatever they are. In terms of my own career path, it's been a little bit muddled. You know, I started with an MA in material culture and kind of a public history background at the Winterthur program from the University of Delaware, and then went into a PhD program and did a lot of public history work kind of over the course of the PhD, which the fellowship at the Newport Historical Society was a big part of. I kind of, the reason I chose to go into more traditional academia was largely because the research was always kind of my passion in terms of studying history. Really kind of like digging around in archives was kind of my happy place. One of my favorite parts of the Buchanan Burnham Fellowship was being able to kind of have unfettered access to the archives at the Newport Historical Society and just kind of dig around in them whenever I wanted, which was kind of a really big treat. And so I figured I'd have better opportunities to kind of do that research and engage in topics that I wanted to study as a kind of more of a traditional academic. But really, I think my public history background has served me pretty well as a professor. Here at NDSU, we have a public history program, which I teach in. I teach courses on memory and memorialization and kind of general kind of like public history and public memory. As well as traditional courses in early American history. And I also think, what public history and work in historical societies and museums does is gives you a sense of, well, first of all, what people are really interested in within the history field. So it helps you kind of make the connections that students, between academic research and what students actually, kind of want to know about, which in large part is kind of, the stuff that you guys do at the Newport Historical Society and people do elsewhere, which is, depicting everyday life and just kind of how things were in the past and the general kind of thing of how things worked. It's one thing to have all these ideas of politics and culture and society and systems at a kind of high level. But what really engages the students, I feel like, is more kind of being able to personalize it and being able to put themselves in people's shoes and kind of figure out where they would fit in the past. And I think, public history does that a little bit better sometimes than the way we traditionally teach in academia. It's also really, it's really helped inform, the research aspect of things as well. I feel like, I'm a better researcher, kind of I'm more attuned to different types of questions and different types of sources, having seen kind of the different uses that the research is put to, when it's not just an article or a book, but an exhibit or a tour or, a living history presentation. It's much different, and you kind of ask different questions, and sometimes those are questions that need to be asked in more traditional settings as well. So I think it's really, the two sides kind of complement each other, and it's been really kind of finding a balance between some of those interests and how kind of that public history area can influence the teaching and research, whereas at the same time how the more kind of traditional methods of research and teaching of larger classes can be enhanced or can enhance kind of public history.
Thank you so much for chatting today. And if you
Sure.
are feeling quarantine boredom, visit newporthistory.org and shopnewporthistory.com.